Adam, the first human, watched as the days grew shorter in autumn. He feared he had sinned and caused the end of the world, that it would slowly slip back into chaos and formlessness as it had been before creation. He fasted and prayed for 8 days. The 8th day was the winter solstice, and the days grew longer again. Adam realized this is the way of the world, and the following year he celebrated for 8 days. This is one explanation from the Talmud for the timing of the festival of Chanukkah on the 25th of the Hebrew month of Kislev. The Talmud offers another explanation, a famous story of a 2nd century Jewish army reclaiming the temple and finding just a small jar of oil to light the menorah. Believing that it would only last one day, they lit the lamp with faith and hope. The oil lasted for 8 days, allowing them to make more pure oil and maintain the light in the temple. Yet another story of Hanukkah is not even in the Jewish Bible, but comes from the book of Maccabees. Mattathias and his sons, from the priestly line, refused to bow to the Greek gods, refused to abandon their Jewish rituals and religion. They flee into the mountains and form a small army that eventually defeats the Greeks. They reclaim Jerusalem, where they set themselves up as both priests and kings, and their dynasty is not looked upon well in history. All of these stories contain themes of light triumphing over darkness, of life persevering against all odds. And yet, it is worth noting which story does not appear in the Jewish canon. The book of Maccabees, the only real record of this war, is not included in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible. And if you read the book of Maccabees, you will not find the story of the miracle of the oil, as it's invented many centuries later by the rabbis during their discussion on how to light the Chanukiah. We usually understand the rabbinic invention of the miracle of oil as the sages' discomfort in celebrating a war. From a theological perspective, we could even say they wish to refocus our attention on divine miracles and not on human military power. And I invite you to explore this idea a little more fully with me. Despite the common joke found on many Jewish greeting cards, they tried to kill us, we won, let's eat, very few Jewish holidays actually follow this pattern. Hanukkah and Purim are really the only ones that reflect this story. On Purim, many communities today shy away from even reading the final chapters of the Megillah that recount the Jews taking up arms against their Persian neighbors. Instead, we focus on the bravery of Esther or the wisdom of Mordecai or the power of remaining true to ourselves and our traditions in the face of persecution. And the customs of Purim echo those values, dressing up as the characters we admire, sharing food with friends, and gathering to tell the story. On Purim, we seek to recreate the joyous aspects of the holiday and not the violence of the story. And I believe the rabbis had a similar concern with Hanukkah. We light lamps and eat fried food to lift up the miracle of the oil lasting. We do not reenact the war or smash Greek idols. We share the miracle of Hanukkah by inviting people into our homes and synagogues to celebrate, by publicly displaying our Chanukiot in the windows for passersby to see. We do not become the religious zealots and kings that the Maccabees do when they create their monarchy. In a moment when we remember the oppression and pain that we suffered, our sages did not want these memories or stories to spur us towards violence. In a season of darkness, when we feel most anxious or afraid, our sages did not want us to honor Hanukkah with war. They wanted us to share the best of Judaism, our light, our warmth, our joy. we display our lamps, our Chanukiot, to show that faith and hope in a better and brighter future are the most powerful antidotes to fear. And we see this message echoed in the Torah reading. Each year on Chanukkah, our Torah cycle finds us in the story of Joseph, now appointed as the viceroy of Egypt, enacting a plan to save Egypt and its neighbors from famine. In our Parsha, God sends Pharaoh dreams that Joseph interprets. Egypt will experience 7 years of bounty, followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph proposes storing food in the coming years to best prepare for the famine, and Pharaoh appoints him second in command to oversee the project. Joseph's brothers, affected by the famine, find themselves bowing before their brother Joseph, who they do not recognize, and purchasing food from him. Joseph creates a test for them. Bring their beloved younger brother Benjamin, their father's new favorite in the wake of Joseph's supposed death, to Egypt. He tries to keep Benjamin, saying he will enslave him, waiting to see if the brothers will abandon Benjamin in Egypt as they did to Joseph. And not to spoil next week's Parsha for you, but their brother Judah steps forward and offers himself in Benjamin's place, leading Joseph to break down, weeping, and confess his identity to them. When the brothers arrive in Egypt this week, Joseph is presented with a choice: reveal himself to his brothers and welcome them, or treat them harshly as they once treated him. He chooses to use his power over them, speaking to them harshly, accusing them of spying on the land, and throwing them into prison for 3 days. And unsurprisingly, this does not heal their relationship. It does not reunite him with his father or his brother Benjamin. It does not lead to reconciliation between Joseph and his brothers. Joseph has merely done to them what was done to him and kept the family exactly where they've always been stuck. The brothers continue to carry the burden of the knowledge that they sold their brother into slavery. Joseph has found himself enslaved and imprisoned. Jacob, back home, has mourned the loss of his son. And none of this changes when Joseph uses his power to frighten and test his brothers. No one is able to heal during their continued estrangement from one another. It is only in next week's story, when Joseph chooses to be vulnerable with his brothers and reveal himself to them, and when Judah chooses to be brave and step forward in Benjamin's place, that they begin to reconcile and move forward together. Joseph's story echoes the Rabbi's concern with retelling the violence of Chanukkah. When we have been hurt, when we have been the victim, it is easy to reenact that pain onto others. And Joseph, carrying years of trauma and hurt from his brother's treatment, mirrors back their actions to him, causing only his brother and his father's more pain in turn. Darkness cannot push away darkness, only the light can do that. Only Joseph's revelation, only his forgiveness and openness with his brothers can peel away the layers of anger and hurt between them. Only through their shared vulnerability, their shared compassion and understanding for one another can they end this terrible cycle between them. After 3 generations of brothers pitted against each other, of paternal favoritism and jealousy and strife, Joseph and his brothers choose a new path forward. They choose to reconcile. They choose to trust one another despite all evidence that they shouldn't, and they choose to see the goodness in each other. We read this story on Chanukkah during the darkest days of our year, when perhaps, like Adam, the first human, we don't know that brighter days are coming. We read this story of a family that chooses light and life, that chooses reconciliation and healing over strife. We uplift the miracle of Chanukkah by sharing food and sweets with our family and friends, lighting more candles each night until our homes and windows are aglow. This holiday inspires us to illuminate the world with that determined hope that brighter days are coming. Shabbat Shalom.